All right, guys, we got breaking news in the world of college football. The Notre Dame Fighting Irish and the Clemson Tigers have agreed to a 12-year, yeah, I said 12-year, we're talking over a decade, almost the full tenure of Nick Saban at Alabama length contract to do a home and home series between the two of them starting in 2027. This will by far be the longest non-con non-rivalry home and home series that will have ever been played in the sport. Guys, I want to know what you're thinking about this Notre Dame Clemson deal. Does it make sense? Do you think it's going to push them into the bigger spotlight? What are you thinking about it?
I'm going to take it first. I'm going to take it first. There's a couple ways I want to look at this. I'm going to go from Clemson's point of view first. This is a way down the road, starting next year, whenever it is again, starting then all the way down the road, that they can stay relevant by playing one of the biggest brands in college football each year. That is my first thought for Clemson. Because let's just be honest, guys. Dabo's been bad. Clemson's been bad. It's just all the way around.
Hey, they won the ACC this past year.
And yeah, they've not been good. And so it's not going to get any better. And so I'm just thinking, how do you stay relevant? Probably a top 5 brand in college football. On the opposite side, this is one of the biggest games every single time they play. Notre Dame doesn't have much of a schedule ever. Clemson has always been kind of in the top 25 since they've really started getting this, since they've been playing the last few years. And it's always been a really solid game. I've always enjoyed the game. I know that I'm clicking it on when it's being played. Um, and I think that's another thing for Notre Dame is like it's beefing up the schedule when I can definitely see Clemson down the road being a a fringe top 25 team, but still in the sense of like, okay, that's a quality enough brand that can help their schedule in the long run for that season. Cause like they just don't, they play like a dwindling USC most years. They'll play a Stanford. They might get a decent Big Ten team in there, but they're going to just kind of like play around the country and not play anybody that's like, oh my gosh, it's a top 5 talent that they're playing. This is like, this team should be in the college football playoffs. No, it shouldn't. But I think this Clemson one really helps them out with that down the road. So it's like, okay, you get a little beef up for Notre Dame. At the same point, Clemson, you get to stay relevant by playing a brand that is just nationally known all over the world. And so I think that's really cool. And then also just the retrospect of 12 seasons. It's the longest one. I've heard of 2 years. I've heard of 4 years. I've heard of all that, but I've never heard of a team saying, yes, we're going to play 12 years in a row. Um, and that is a monument in itself. The monument will actually be if they play all 12 seasons of those games together. Because, on the back end, sometimes you'll get some games canceled, things will happen. But if they play the next 12 years, that will be insane. That is going to be really cool to watch. And it's going to become like that little rivalry. And I think at the end of it, or maybe towards the end of it, maybe you're trying to pull Notre Dame into the ACC in college football finally. So I think it's going to be really cool.
I think this is stupid. I mean, I think that, I mean, this to me is like doing, and we made a video on this, scheduling the home and homes 15 years out. Like, this is dumb. Okay. They're not playing all 12 years. I would be willing to put everything I own on that they will not play 12 consecutive years from 2027 to 2038 because it just won't happen. Think about it. We're talking about how the entire landscape of college football is going to change in the next 5, 6 years, maybe 2 power conferences, whatever. Who's to say that they're in opposite conferences and that this gets washed because of that? Who's to say that, Notre Dame joins the ACC and they go to a split model again where it's, the Atlantic and Coastal and they don't play, whatever. Something is going to happen in 12 years where they're not going to play every single year. And maybe you're right on luring them to the ACC. I mean, that's a possibility. I mean, that's kind of the first thing that came to my mind. And then I immediately laughed and thought, what a ridiculous headline this is because it's not going to happen. Like, I would be shocked if they played 4 years in a row because most of the time you sign these 4-year home and homes and they don't even get done.
Yeah.
What in the world makes you think a 12-year agreement is going to do anything? I just think it's laughable.
I will add to that part. It does seem like it is a big PR release news right now too for it. So like you're dropping it now, everybody's gonna be talking about, oh my gosh, 12 years. And then in year 8, everybody's gonna be forgotten about, hey, y'all signed a 12-year deal kind of a thing. Quinn?
Yeah, I was to say I actually think it's a really smart move, and I'll explain why. I think for Clemson, it gives them, like Chase was pointing out, a big national game guaranteed pretty much every year where they're going to get like eyes on them. We're talking about a team who plays a relatively weak conference schedule in the ACC, and they struggle to get like these big nationally recognized games. So that's a win for them. For Notre Dame, I think it's also a win. And the reason I think it's a win is Notre Dame's been stuck in this deal where they have to play a certain amount of ACC teams every season. Now they have locked down and guaranteed that Clemson will be one of those teams every year for the duration of time that they might be in this until obviously I agree with you, Freddie. It's not going 12 years. I want to get that out of the way right now. But for the time that it does run, um, they're going to get to play arguably the most consistent team in the entire conference. So they can bet on at least one of those ACC games they play will always be at least a top 25 caliber type team. You cannot guarantee that every year right now if you are Notre Dame when you're scheduling those ACC games. Like, let's be honest, outside of Clemson, who in the heck is consistent in that conference? NC State, they're consistently like low end top 25, and that's about it. Like, that's the only consistent team you have in that entire conference. So I think it's a win for both of them in that regard. Now, again, it won't go 12 years. There's no way the reshaping of college football will mess that up. It will not happen. I think there's a really good chance in another decade. We're talking about Clemson as an SEC team and Notre Dame as a Big Ten team, and they will probably scrap this if that happens, right? Or just like y'all touched on, there's a chance that Notre Dame ends up in the ACC. If that happens, they're scrapping this series just like Georgia and Oklahoma scrapped their series when Oklahoma came to the SEC, right? So there's no way it's going 12 full years because I don't expect college football to look like it does now in 2038. Okay. But for the time being, while they're playing, I think it's a big win for both because it really fixes that Notre Dame issue where people unfairly say they don't play a decent schedule. They always play at least one marquee game in the season. Whether it's Ohio State and their home and home they had with them 3-2 years ago, and then the big Texas A&M game this past year, they always try. The problem is when you're having to make a 12 game schedule of non-con opponents, it's hard to figure out who's actually going to be good 4 years from now. You know what I mean? And that really bites them in the butt a lot. It also doesn't help that their marquee rivalries with Stanford and USC aren't panning out for them right now. But as far as do I think it's a good move? Yeah. Do I think the 12-year thing is a little absurd? Absolutely, because there's no way they're going to go that far. You guys got anything else you want to add to this? All righty. Well, I've been Quinn. I've been joined by Freddie. I've been joined by Chase. We're three bold takes. We're looking forward to seeing this Clemson and Notre Dame series that's going to run for the duration of a preteen's life. We will see y'all in the next video, and we're going to log out.